Hello, my friends. I'm going to point out something that's probably pretty obvious. That, right now, everybody wants their voice heard. Everybody's making videos. They're out protesting. The NFL, Psycho Trump. Everybody wants their voice heard, right? But we really think that we're accomplishing something, and all we're doing is just creating this bigger and bigger divide for the most part. That's getting wider and wider, and easier for the powers that be. The one-party system that goes by two different names. The Democrats and Republicans. It's a one-party system that goes by two different names, right? They're going to do what their interests are. They're going to do what their donors' interests are. They're going to do what big corporations' interests are. And they're going to give lip service. In fact, they're even going to throw a little red meat in there to kind of get us, wound up, just like the way the media does. The media really likes us at each other's throats because they're owned by these people. And as long as we're attacking each other, and as long as we're out there protesting each other and going crazy at each other, our voices aren't getting heard. That's right. The more noise we make, the less we get heard. Isn't that ironic? So right now we think like there's this real insurgence of grassroots kind of anger and frustration bubbling to the top, and people, really getting out of their couches and out of their basements to finally, to voice their opinions and their passions and their disappointments and their dreams. And so in the middle of all this, it's really a beautiful thing. But as long as we don't own the government, as long as the government isn't controlled by the people, right? It's all just, sound and fury, signifying absolutely nothing. It's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. Yeah. So, and the most interesting part about this is the more we polarize over this, right? The less relevant we become. So the less likelihood that we're ever going to get together and actually change our country for the better, to change our government for the better, the less likely we are to come together over what we agree on, that the country has been taken over by large interests, and the corporate Democrats and the Republicans are basically just the same party. And you really can't tell any difference between the two parties other than what they give lip service to, right? And other than throwing red meat in there, further polarizing us. And the farther we get polarized, the less we get heard. So the more angry we get at one another, the more we separate, the harder the winds of you'd think they used to be called the winds of change. And the winds of the same old start blowing, and everybody's screaming into the wind, but nobody can be heard because we don't control our government. We're not in control of our government. We're not in control of anything. All we're in control of is whether or not we buy into this polarization of the country. And so we need to find common ground. We need to find a way to reach across to each other. We need to find a way to make our voices heard. Because as long as we're on the path that we're on right now, as long as we're doing what we're doing right now, we become less and less relevant. The more you go out and scream and yell and make angry signs and wave them in somebody's face, the quieter your voice gets. We're all just have these little mouse whisper voices with their little signs. But the more we polarize, the less we're going to be heard in Washington, the less we're going to affect Washington. And so it's great to see. When it first started happening, I was so excited to see the young out there and doing their thing and everything. But then it turned so hateful, and racism is just exploding, and bigotry is exploding, and everybody's a Nazi according to one side, and the other side, everybody's a communist. And we just keep getting farther and farther and farther apart, and it's so sad to watch because it's exactly what they need to keep this corrupt system going, because we are facilitating the corrupt system. We are now a part of the corrupt system. So that's just a thought. Yeah, we've become essential to the corrupt system. Yeah, us screaming into that into the corporate wind, right? nobody can hear us. We just can't be heard. We can't be heard where it matters, because nobody's changing nobody's minds, because both sides are getting more and more polarized. In fact, the people in the center are starting to be pushed into the two different camps. And so the reasonable center, the independent center, is becoming less and less independent and less reasonable, just because of people's hate pushing them in there, you know, running around and saying that all white people are evil, right? It's going to be so much easy for white races to recruit, right? And then the more races show up, and then all of a sudden it's easy to make other other races to get their little hateful little group up there. You know, it there starts growing, and then this side starts growing, and then this side starts growing, and then the corporate idiots are just laughing their way all the way to the bank, and they can use the algorithms on your Facebook and everything else to manipulate you exactly to where they want you. And the country's going exactly where they want it to go. Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So we're part of it. We're part of the problem. And then until we figure out, find a way to love each other and to respect each other, and to come together over freeing the government up from corporate interests, until we can come together over those things, we're pointless. In fact, we are officially part of the corporate system. So you're just a corporate stooge. Yay! All right, thanks. Bye.